Welcome, everybody, to the Chaos Theory podcast, where we are practicing for the actual podcast. I am Kyle, or you can call me Grog or Sir Grogshire. It doesn't matter to me. And I'm here with one of the other two hosts.
Hello, everyone. This is Cybear, a.k.a. Tristan. You see, Kyle is going to refer to me by our actual names quite a lot, but I prefer to be referred to as by my username, so just keep that in mind. If you happen to be listening to this at some point in the future and you're commenting on it, refer to me as Cybear. You don't know me personally. You don't get to use my name.
How rude of him. How dare he. Anyway, Tristan, why don't you inform the people of why they should listen to this podcast? Because clearly you're not going to be paying half attention to us. Because what is on your laptop right now?
Solitaire.
See, he's already bored of me. All right. So we've already introduced at least our names. Our third host I will get to in a second. But I'm Kyle, or Sir Grogshire, on pretty much any platform that's like Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You can also call me Grog. For me, I don't care. Tristan's just more specific. I'm 28 years old, and a lot of my interests include anime. I like movies. I like video games, futuristic stuff, rock music, metal music, board games, D&D, the nerd stuff. So that's pretty much me, and Tristan can do his own shit.
So I am a little bit younger than Kyle. I'm 27. We're separated by 9 months.
Baby.
Ironically, that is factually correct and accurate given the usual length of term for pregnancy. Anyway, before I get off topic, don't give me that look.
I'm going to give you that look. Also, let us know if we should turn this into a video cast.
Yes, please do. Because it is extra work setting up video.
Introduce yourself.
Anyway, so yes, I'm 27. I turned 28 in May. And my interests are computers, technology, science, history, politics, anime, action movies. I like to read. I read quite a lot. I like to read like thrillers, action, adventure type series, that sort of thing. I like stories that are dark but have a good ending at the end. So like there's a struggle, but it's a hard-fought win. That's what I enjoy.
All right, and then our third host is going to be Evan. You can call him Bobbio. He has...
Or Slender Man. That works very much as well.
I was getting to that, you whore. But the big thing with Evan is he couldn't join us tonight. He had other plans because we kind of put this together a little bit last minute. But just to give you a visual representation of him, he is Waluigi without the mustache. Or he is the human embodiment of Slender Man if you were to give that man a white morph suit and a actual suit. And he wants us to refer to him as a slut dragon according to his notes for this episode. I don't think he took my instructions seriously, but that's how this is going to play out for most of the episodes.
You'll quickly learn and figure out that that Kyle and I do have distinct personalities, but Evan is much more amalgamous. He's much more enigmatic. Much more of a mystery, that one.
I don't even think he's discovered what he is yet. We've just assumed an alien, but we could also be wrong.
He's the walking, talking embodiment of neutral.
Or chaotic evil.
Yes.
It's somewhere in between.
He seems to flip between the two.
And what's weird is his family is kind of the same way. They're all tall, relatively slender, and he got genetics, whereas I didn't. I am just a beached whale that can actually breathe. Tristan's just beer belly boy.
I do have me a nice beer belly. If there happen to be any bears listening to this.
Ladies, don't hook up on him. He is gay. Just
yes, very much gay. Not interested in you unless you're a big, beefy, hairy man. So, if you are, maybe leave a comment.
We're not too sure on Evan yet. once again, still a mystery. But moving on, we are going to. We already kind of did this for Evan since we had to introduce the boy, but Tristan is going to have to somehow pull a statement out of his ass describing me as a person or friend.
Oh, man. So, for context, Kyle has been... we've been friends for 13 years, just about.
It's been a long 13 years. I've been trapped for a long time.
Yes, I have him locked up in a cage. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And even as a best friend, it's all good.
Yeah, you had to get it as a shipping container.
But in all seriousness, Kyle and I have been friends for 13 years. He was a year ahead of me in school, so he was a sophomore when I was a freshman. I hated him the first time I met him. Like, I don't know why either. It's like just something you said the very first time we met for bowling pictures just rubbed me completely the wrong way. I was like, I do not like this man. I don't like him.
It couldn't have been anything for sophomore year or the first year we met of saying something, because I didn't say much those years.
I don't know what it was.
I
I literally can't remember what it was. It was at bowling picture day. You said something. It rubbed me just totally wrong. It was just like, no, I don't like this man. But then what happened was that a year later, by the time that it was getting to the summer...
We'll get to that story later, but
okay,
go ahead and try to describe me as a person or friend.
So with that context in mind, and also keeping in context that for about the last 5-6-ish years, you've been my best friend, like best friend.
It was kind of like 2 years after we graduated, or at least I graduated.
Like, we started hanging out a lot more in 2014 for sure.
Something around there, yeah.
I don't think I really considered you my best friend until like 2016, 2017. It's been a lot more recent.
Yes.
But anyway, that's getting off topic. Describing Kyle as a person.
Or friend.
Or friend.
We have to distinguish it because those are two very different personalities right there.
I'm gonna start with as a friend. As a friend, Kyle is one of the most loyal people. Like, honestly, he's a very loyal person. He can be a right pain in the ass, though.
God, that's the absolute truth.
And yet, I find myself in this position where I've known him for so long, and it's like there are things that he does that really irritate the fuck out of me. But overall, I know he's an awesome guy, and I'm glad he's my best friend.
Don't get too sappy on here. They can't see any crying yet.
If you would like to see crying, please advise with the video camera setup.
I mean, I have a webcam on my laptop. I'm sure you have one on yours. Although it would be really shit quality.
Yeah.
It would be a video cast of sorts.
If there's anyone that is in the tech world that's listening to this,
send us cameras.
The fact that laptop webcams are still absolute fucking garbage when cell phone cameras, like front-facing cameras, have been really good for like the last 5 years, and they're smaller than webcams on laptops, and yet the laptop manufacturers keep up with the shitty fucking webcams on laptops. It's such bullshit. Please let me know if you agree.
I don't even think I have to describe him as a person after that. I think that pretty much summed it up. Tristan as a person or friend is the guy who's going to tell it to you straight, whether you like it or not, while also getting really pissed off if anyone is better at him than at anything, even though he knows that there are people better than him at everything.
This is one of my character flaws. I'm aware of it, and I'm trying to make it better. I'm trying to learn to not sweat the small stuff, really.
He is also the type of person that will report you if you beat him in Hanzo. Just straight up, he will say that you were cheating. You're not, but he will argue that you were cheating just because you were better at him at Hanzo.
Yes.
Put your fucking mic down, you bitch. The only reason I'm going to have him put his mic down is because we're going to get off topic if we do. But as a friend, once again, having him as a best friend for the last 6 to 8 years, it has been opening that he is willing to try more things quicker than me. And I thought I was a very transparent person. He can be, but he knows when to keep things to himself. And that bugs me because I'm the type of person that I want to know. And I will pick his brain when I get a chance. But he's just willing to go along with my stupid ass ideas. So I at least appreciate that about him. And there's a lot of them. Evan has more, but there's a lot of mine. So moving on from that, the structure of this podcast is basically just going to be, it's a no bullshit podcast. We're going to talk what we want to talk about. We're going to say what comes out of our mouth is going to be the truth, our opinions. If we do anything that is remotely like modern day stuff like politics and stuff like that, we're going to make sure that we do our research first before gathering everything.
We will present our opinions, of course, but the opinions we present, especially when it comes to politics, they're going to be rooted in evidence and logical analysis and conclusion. They're not going to be based on just pure emotional reaction, because the last thing we want to
like
be
his rages against Hanzo and Genjis.
Yes, we get it, Kyle. God damn, you're fucking derailed the damn train of thought.
FYI, there is no trail of thought in the mind state that he's in. But yeah, it's all going to be truth, factual, researched, opinionated, but everything is going to be where it needs to be within those structures.
Because fuck misinformation and fuck propaganda, honestly.
Yeah, and we're mostly doing this podcast for ourselves. We're not doing this to get famous in any way. We're not doing this to try to get sponsors, make money. We're doing this purely for kind of like an archiving thing of, what did we talk about when we were in our late 20s?
It's like a group journal, really.
In a way, it's a vocal diary, if that's the best way to talk about it. But it's also a way for us to figure out when we're older, like, how did our opinions sway over time? Looking back at what was modern issues then, what are modern issues now? And hell, if we like doing this and maybe we make money, maybe we have sponsors, we'd actually be able to like live react to that stuff while still doing this podcast when we're 40.
Okay. I mean,
I doubt we were going to, though.
I imagine this is probably going to get really pretty sporadic as we get older.
I'd imagine so. It'd probably turn into like a once a week to a once a month to a once every decade.
Especially after I moved to Chicago. Yeah.
Well, then we could basically just do it over Discord.
Well, it'd be over Discord, yeah. But even then,
which means this mic and mixer will never be used again.
I mean, I'll come down. I'm coming down every year for Thanksgiving.
Evan decided once again to not take his assignment seriously. But he said he wanted to do this podcast because of sexual
yes, Evan is a great blues jazz player. That's 100% where Kyle was going with that.
He did play drums, so could have been a blues drummer. But he said he wanted to do this for sexual satisfaction. I mean, I'm sure there's a name for that kink, but for podcast kinks.
Yes, as I said before, you'll learn. Kyle and I have very distinct personalities. Evan, not so much. Evan's personality is this mysterious, vague shroud of a cloud.
As you said literally 15 minutes ago.
I know. I need to reiterate that.
I know it wasn't 15 minutes ago because I am looking at the timer, but it was definitely not long ago.
How long have we been going?
Hold on. We've been going for 14 minutes, so it was not 15 minutes.
It's only been 14 minutes? It feels like it's been like half an hour.
Interesting. Just think, these might be our episodes. Brought to you by late-term depression.
Anyway.
And that's basically the structure of the podcast right there. There is no structure to the podcast.
No. We call this podcast Chaos Theory. We call this podcast Chaos Theory because It is just a fundamental representation of both who we are as people and our relationship. Like, it's perfect.
It really is, because me and Evan being the more chaotic personalities, we even call ourselves Chaos Incarnate, which is still way better than our original names. But, and then me and Tristan are very opposite.
We are team logical chaos.
And it's purely for the fact that when he is not in his current state of mind, he is a very must do everything by the book to the T. Takes him long enough to process to do the right thing, but not too long to where he's just annoying. So it's gonna be that kind of podcast.
Yes. To put it another way, I actually was discussing this with Austin the last time I hung out with him.
My cousin, for the people that don't know.
Yes, for frame of reference. But as I was discussing with Austin, I was talking about the different kinds of chaos that we all have. And I said that Evan's chaos is very much just Joker chaos. Like, it's just like...
Depending on the decade of or era of Joker, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking like more Heath Ledger Joker. Like, I'm a dog that doesn't know what it would do if I caught the car kind of thing. That's Evan's chaos. So that's Evan's chaos. My chaos, as I described it to Austin, is like tactical precision warheads.
Tactical nuke incoming.
Tactical precision missiles with chaos warheads. I am very selective about where I apply my chaos, but where I do,
yeah, he has an aiming system.
It is brutally effective where I apply my chaos. Kyle's chaos, on the other hand, is a widespread and ravaging chaos. But
I'm an area of effect damage.
But it's like a planned forest burn, where it's very destructive, but there's a purpose to it, and it makes sense.
I'm just watching Tristan's brain try to wrap around the words he's saying. His eye emotions are everywhere. It's pretty entertaining.
I am very expressive. I do use my hands a lot, so if that's another reason why you want us to do a video set.
But don't worry, he's not Italian.
No, I'm not Italian.
Evan is, though.
Oh, yeah. Did I tell you that? I got my genetic test results back.
That's a thing for another time.
That's a long conversation, yeah.
This is kind of what we do whenever we actually hang out, which is another reason why we decided to just put this in podcast form, is when we hang out, it is literally like just talking on a 2 to 4 hour podcast. There's just no stop. The answers are everywhere. There's no actual questions. It's just continuous conversation.
You know, it's interesting, actually, that you mentioned that. This is going to be a very quick aside. I'm not going to go
doubtful
far into this, but it's interesting that with you, when I'm interacting with you, it's a constant, like you said, a constant stream of consciousness. But with Austin and I ask each other questions, and we get into conversations based off of the questions. You and I, on the other hand, is just like back and forth constantly.
He asked for his pasta there. Mamma mia. Yeah, he gets very expressive with his hands. His eyes also just fucking go everywhere, especially when he's really trying to think about what he's wanting to say. And he doesn't slow down his talking. He just super processes. And it will get jammed up with some strawberry jam. And it just, his thinking just goes everywhere.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm just a natural born storyteller. I like telling stories.
Which is why he wants to be a writer.
Fun fact. In the future, look out for a book called Fracture by Tiberius Dunkirk. That will be my first published work.
I was going to say, I don't know that guy, but I bet he writes well.
He's working on it.
Okay. So, going away from the structure and why we're doing this, I feel like we've talked about that enough. I figured it would be best if we talked about our friendship and our personalities for this quote-unquote episode 0 is what I'm calling it, because we're just kind of testing the waters for this episode. But I figured we'd talk about like how we first met, which Me and Tristan, we'll get into it, but it is a story.
It's a story, and unfortunately, it's going to leave you unsatisfied. And we're sorry, we can't help that.
We really can't. Just it's like a cliffhanger, like a Blue Locker Classroom of the Elite is just, I'm gonna punch the screen if it doesn't fucking happen. But how me and Evan first met is he said it was through Little League Baseball, but I've technically known Evan ever since I was in second grade. And when he became a first grader, he was still a good 1 to 3 feet taller than every fucking kid in that school. He grew fast and young. I was gonna make a political joke there. I'm gonna fucking leave it. But it was very hard to not notice Evan when the first graders and the second graders interacted a lot. Those were the 2 grades that did recess together.
And there's just this giant towering over everyone.
Just a fucking stick bug walking around the halls. It should be on a leaf, but it's not.
Evan is Groot.
Evan is Groot. But obviously I'm exaggerating the height a bit, but he was a relatively tall kid all through grade school. And even for me, I was a relatively shy kid, but even for me, Evan was too weird to actually approach, which is not shocking in the slightest.
No.
And it was more, I think he was just awkward as a kid because pretty much everything about him was pretty awkward.
Yeah, even when I knew him, I first met Evan when I was a freshman in high school. So it was,
They were in the same grade.
Yeah.
I should have been in the grade. He wishes every day I was in his grade.
Yeah.
Now, freshman year, he would have wanted to strangle me.
Yeah, I probably would have, based on what you told me. Yeah.
But
yeah, Evan just carried himself as he just really kept to himself. He took it to an extreme. It was really hard to get to know him externally. I was just he was the really tall guy on the bowling team on JV with me, and I didn't really give him much thought until senior year. And the only reason I gave him thought in senior year is because he opened up, and he only opened up because of Kyle. So
what you're saying is Evan's a thought.
In a way,
he's a thoughty too hottie.
Nope.
And by the way, when we talk about this man skinny, there's no muscle in there, and I feel like that is doctor approved.
For context, I am 6'2", and my weight ranges in between 195 to 205.
And I'm in the 6'5", 6'6" range at over 300. So
Evan is the same height as Kyle,
half the weight,
literally half the weight. The man is 130, 140 pounds. I outweigh him by a third of his entire body weight.
Yeah, he is very skinny. That man is 140 wet.
Yeah. When we say,
and I mean, that's got to be like a torrential downpour.
When we say Evan is a stick, Evan is a stick.
Very much a stick. But yeah, he was a very reserved person in grade school too. He had a small niche that he would hang out with, and a few of them went to high school with him. They were in the same grade. Another undisclaimed drink. Yes, I will take a cola product that is not sponsored.
Yes, not branded or sponsored at all.
I'll take that CCC. That last word's can, by the way, in case you were curious why there's 3 C's.
I figured it out.
Okay.
It took me a little bit, but I got it. I had to be a little confused, but then I got it. It was all fine.
I switched houses when I was. Are you seriously going to the bathroom?
Yes, I have to the bathroom.
We're in the middle of something here. This is very unprofessional. But I never said in my description of him that he was professional. I can't wait to hear a scream from the bathroom that I said something wrong. But, yeah, Evan, I wound up switching houses when I went into high school. And Evan happened to live on the same street as me. He lived like 4 houses up. And luckily, since my family knew him through school, me and him started interacting more, and we kind of quickly became friends because we lived next to each other, and my cousin also lived in that neighborhood. So it was pretty easy to become friends since I kind of already knew him, not really, and everything just kind of like came together, I guess, would be the best way to describe that. I guess I should probably wait for Tristan before I start talking about how me and him became friends, because I guess I can go ahead and talk about like how we first met. So obviously me and him went to the same high school, because me and Evan went to the same high school. But the one true thing that it is very, you're going to the bathroom in the middle of a live podcast. Not streamed live, but that could be an option. But God, why didn't you go beforehand?
I did.
You guys in your small bladder, I swear to fucking Christ. But me and Tristan first met, we were both on the bowling team. Obviously, I was there for an extra year as him, as we already discussed. So I was a sophomore on the bowling team. I had already made onto varsity at that point.
The real irony is how many sports animes we've watched where he is a second-year character and I'm a first-year. It's uncanny.
Once again, another discussion for when we decide to do anime. But I guess that is kind of our personality as we go into animes and try to find who we are. It's actually if you ever want to get to know somebody, describe them as an anime character, because that is the easiest way to just put their whole personality on display.
You will learn and understand so much about your friends. It's fantastic. Take my other best friend, Austin, his cousin.
No.
Happens to be a girl in literally
almost everything.
Almost everything, like 99% of anime.
I wouldn't go 99, but
90?
90.
90% of everything. 9 out of 10 animes, the man is a woman. And it's like we just don't know.
The man is a woman.
And it's like we just don't know why. Like they all
It's
are
the
like
opposite
him.
of Mulan.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with as he was growing up, he kind of had a more flamboyant personality. That was just who he was, and it's gone away over the last couple years.
Yeah.
But like college, man, when he was in college, it was bad.
Yeah, when I first met Austin, he was very flamboyant, and which didn't help for the fact that I wasn't confused about my sexuality at the time. I knew I was gay, but it was like I was very bad at
this independent bitch knew what he wanted.
I was very bad at identifying what my type was. I was very bad at that, and yeah.
He stuck to Hugh Jackman though. Don't worry, ladies.
I mean, Hugh Jackman as Wolverine is just
nice. It's peak Tristan fantasies. So
yeah.
Going to how we became friends though, the answer is we don't know.
We literally don't know. We think we've narrowed it down to
a couple situations.
To one of two situations. It was
But these were also discoveries that we came up with within the last 6 months.
Yeah. Like we just hadn't thought about it. It's been so long since our friendship started.
And we've asked a couple times over our friendship the last couple years. We still don't know after discussing it for 4 years?
At least.
We have no idea.
We have no idea. So we've come up with two possible conclusions. One is that we both went to a summer bowling camp the summer after my freshman year.
Loved them. They were great.
It was fantastic. And we think that this is one possibility, is that Kyle and I were paired on the same lane or right next to each other. And Kyle was wearing like a Star Wars t-shirt. And I was like, oh, is Kyle a Star Wars nerd like I'm a Star Wars nerd?
For just as a slight background, my sophomore year, I kind of looked more of an athlete, not like an athletic athlete, but I was definitely more of the athletic type in high school.
Yeah, you didn't really give off nerd vibes.
No. You looked at me and you thought, oh, he probably plays O-line for the football team, or He's definitely not a swimmer. Those guys were way fitter than me.
So this is what I think then happened.
Although he didn't get a hint by the fact that I was in band.
Yeah, well, you know. But I think this is what then happened, is that upon me noticing that Kyle had a Star Wars t-shirt, I was like, okay, is this man a Star Wars nerd? So I decided to make a fairly obscure but knowable reference, I think. And you commented on it or made a joke about it, and I was like, oh, this man knows Star Wars.
And if you ask us what we discussed,
no fucking idea.
No clue.
Absolutely none.
We could tell you what we've discussed like over the last 10 years. We can't discuss anything that happened that day.
Yeah. Yeah, like if I go back to like the pizza party, like a time sit.
Hell, we could probably tell you some bowling team stories from back in the day, and we could not tell you the day that we fucking became friends.
All right, I'm not going to get into it because we're going to get so fucking off topic with that. But we are marking that down for a future podcast episode.
Bowling team stories.
Oh yeah, like the time
Evan was also a part of the bowling team.
Like the time we put all that shit in Jason's drink and he didn't realize it.
So salty. Yeah, that we were a strange group of children in bowling team. That was a whole other situation.
Yeah, we honestly could probably go for hours talking about bowling stories.
Easily. And me and Evan could go on for hours talking about band stuff too.
Yeah.
How they say don't talk about band camp, just like Fight Club. You pretend band camp never happened. Nobody's allowed knowing the secrets. Oh, I will tell you secrets. I am not afraid. There are stories there.
Be afraid.
No. I'll give you a hint. We tied people to a tree. Saran wrapped them to a tree.
Didn't someone like saran wrap a whole bunch of bunk beds together?
That was also us. That was our class. But yeah, there's tons of stories there too. Now, I'm going to read Evan's for this because his text was better than his actual answer that he wrote or typed on the document, which is my bad for actually preparing.
Shout out to Google Docs, by the way. This is actually quite easy to use.
Thank
well done.
God.
Not sponsored.
Did he delete it? Oh, no, here it is. Okay. Actually, I think you've had enough time to think of something. So let's start with you because Evans definitely have a lot of background to them.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is your favorite memory of mine? There's a ton.
There are so fucking many.
You wanted something else that we could talk for a whole episode about? It's literally me and Tristan's stories.
We have so much shit we've done together. Like, there's a lot that's been encompassed.
And I think
in the 10 plus years we've been friends.
I don't know if accomplish is the best word for that. We've done something.
We've done something and some pretty cool things.
Not something, but we've done something.
Yeah. Favorite memory of Kyle. Wow.
But yeah, the worst part is, while we give him a second to think of a few, if you want to talk about those stories, he's going to get to a few and realize that I'm the one that usually starts whatever fucking weird interaction it is.
I mean,
every time.
I knew that was always true. Like, that's been a constant. Oh, favorite.
It's either been me or Austin. We are definitely the initiators, except he is the bad influence.
It's true.
We'll get him on an episode here or there, but he didn't want to do it all the time, so we recruited Evan instead. Sorry, Evan, for being the second choice, but you're not here now, so I'm gonna blast you for it. Just start naming a few. We could talk hours.
Oh, man, so many. God.
Well, why don't we start with a more recent one? Because I know you were talking about that one earlier.
Yeah. So we went to Chicago.
Great city.
Fantastic.
Don't
city.
get him started.
Yes, I'm moving there. It's great.
Shut up, Tristan. Keep telling the story.
So yes, we were in Chicago for a few days, and the very first night we were there, we First, our hotel was literally right across the street from a dispensary.
And you can't ding us for that because it was legal.
Yeah, it's fully legal at the state level in Illinois because it's not a fucking stupid state. But yes, we had a dispensary right across the street, and they had fantastic chocolate.
That I got. Let's not take it the wrong way.
That
was my chocolate.
Yeah, you got the chocolate bar. The chocolate bar was amazing.
So good.
And
peanut butter chocolate. And peanut butter is an elite flavor. I don't care what anybody says.
And I got like dark chocolate caramel things.
It was a caramel something, yeah.
Those were pretty good. Not as
Mine
good.
Was so good.
Yours was delightful. Yeah.
It's one of those things that if you do like edibles or something like that, you can tell for the most part that there is something else in it. I'm not going to say what, but use your goddamn imagination. Those tasted nothing of it. It was chocolate and peanut butter.
It was great.
And it would still demolish you.
So that's what happened. We partook about an hour before we were getting ready for food. Once we started feeling it hitting, we're like, oh, okay, yeah, let's get some chow. Let's see where we're going. And
we watch anime a lot when we are under the influence.
Yes, we do.
Both ways.
Yep. And
why do I keep grabbing the empty one?
So
separated my cans for a reason, and I keep grabbing the wrong one.
So we were looking at restaurants a little beforehand, and we settled on this one called Rock Bottom Brewery. That was about like 10-minute walk. It was pretty close.
It was 5 to 10, yeah.
Yeah. So we're like, okay.
Once we actually figured out where we were going.
Yeah. Once we had determined the destination, we started walking and got down to the restaurant, and immediately as we sat down, like that's when it like really started to hit. Like immediately, like as soon as we sit down, I think we got like.
I hadn't had my chocolate bar at this point, but I was hitting the dap.
He had a vape pen, and that was a great time, especially given because I forget what it was I got. I got like mac and cheese and like a burger.
Yeah, you had your main course I think was the mac and cheese.
Yeah,
we had like I think a chips and dip for the appetizer or pretzel. I think it was pretzel. I had this extraordinary burger. No, I had fish.
Yeah, you had fish. I had the burger.
I had burger the next night.
Yeah, I had the burger the first night. You had the fish.
Yes. Go ahead. This is your story to tell.
So, Kyle gets his entree.
It was just a fish platter. Fish and chips.
And, they usually include some kind of tartar sauce with a fish platter. So,
oh boy, what do you think of when you look at tartar sauce? White, pickle shreds. No, this was orange.
This was orange, and it had like vinegar marks in it too, like
vinegar or oil.
Yeah.
I mean, well, tartar sauce has oil, but yeah,
it was totally custom.
It looked like a greasy pizza.
Yeah, it was yes. Actually, that's kind of what it looked like. It looked really gross. Now I think
it did, but of course, I like tartar sauce, and of course, I like dipping my fish in tartar sauce.
This is where it was crazy. Kyle tries a little bit of the tartar sauce just by itself, and he's like,
because I wanted to make sure it was fucking tartar sauce.
He's like, oh, what the hell are you? What is this? It's so weird. And I tried a little bit of it, and I was like, yeah.
And it was like vinegar. It was like you're eating straight vinegar.
It was like just straight acidic vinegar. It was awful. And I was like, oh, why do they have tartar sauce like that? That's
so being
horrible.
a man of punishment.
Yeah, he decides to try it again
with a big ass dip.
With his big ass dip of one of his fish, and he tries it. And I'm watching the entire process as I'm sipping my beer.
It was a gear grinding experience.
And all of a sudden, Kyle starts chewing for a little bit. And like half a second later, he just gets a really surprised expression. And then just a very confused expression. And then he swallows and he says, what are you? He's just staring at the tartar sauce.
Yeah, and it wasn't like I looked at it from afar. I got in its fucking face. Its tartar face. And just said, what are you?
So he proceeds to try it.
No, I give you a piece.
Yeah, he gives me a little piece of fish, and I try it, and I was like, oh my God, that's actually really fucking good. How does that work? How is this happening?
And we don't. This was science, just pure food chemistry.
So
it tasted completely different.
It made everything it came into contact with, because we tested some of my French
Delightful.
French
I
fries.
even tried it with some of his mac and cheese.
Yes, even the mac and cheese.
Which is weird.
Yeah,
even if you have regular tartar sauce,
you don't
it's
put
weird.
tartar sauce on mac and cheese, but even the mac and cheese, it made it taste better. And we have no idea why. The tartar sauce was utter dog shit by itself, but not by itself on other items. Perfect. Just magical.
It was a very overwhelmingly questionable tartar sauce. But goddamn was it fucking good.
So,
I would have that on my Big Mac.
Yeah, like I'm not
Big Boy, sorry, not Big Mac, Big Boy. Although on the Big Boy, Big Mac, it'd probably also be really good.
I couldn't make it any worse, that's for sure.
It's got pickles. But no, if you don't know what the Big Boy is, the founders of the Big Mac-like sandwich of Frisch's.
Yeah,
which was named something else before then, but I can't remember what.
Yeah, if you're in the Great Lakes region, like Eastern Great Lakes, you'll know what Frisch's is.
Yes. You'll also know some pretty goddamn good food and brews.
Indeed.
If there's one thing that the semi-great, not really, state of Ohio has, it is a lot of drunk people because we have really goddamn good beer.
We do. Our microbreweries are like one of the best things about this shitty state.
And even though it's in Cleveland, boo, but we'll get to that another time. Great Lakes Brewing is one of the best brew companies in the entire U.S. And that is an actual voted on fact. That is not me opinionizing because I've never been there, but I have had their beer. Because Jungle Jim's is amazing.
See, I just don't care for Great Lakes all that much. Like
they are considered one of the best beer companies in the U.S.
Like I think they're
outside of like the big crafts.
Like I like one of their Christmas ales, I think, and it's like okay. It's like if it's there, I'll have it, but I'm not gonna go out of my way to.
You
get
need to
it.
retry them then, or maybe they're just better on draft.
Maybe I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of.
But anyway, that was the tartar sauce story. I'm sure Tristan wants to get to another story. If you start there's a ton from the Digital Dynasty days. I mean, mine's from the Digital Dynasty days.
I was thinking either.
By the way, that YouTube channel is still live. Feel free to look at it. It's not great, but it does the work.
I was thinking either Reggie or...
Reggie's a good story.
Or my bumper fell off.
By the way, that is not his bumper he is referring to. That is mine. Let's go with that one.
The bumper story?
The bumper story. That's a good story.
Okay.
And actually one that has somewhat completely wiped from my mind, so I'm glad you brought it up.
All right, so we went to go
movie theater. Already a weird day to begin with.
Yeah.
Very weird.
So, yeah, we went to go see Star Wars. Was it episode...
I thought that was Ready Player One.
No, it was Star Wars. I think it was...
Was it episode 9?
I think it was episode 9. It had to have been, because it was 2019, right?
Sorry. I'm thinking Ready Player One with the weird movie date. That was a weird...
Yeah, no, going to see Star Wars episode 9 was perfectly fine. That was a normal experience.
Underrated Star Wars movie.
Slight tangent. When we went to go see Ready Player One, that was horrible because there were 3 different people that threw up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Drunk people. Ready Player One. VR. Not a good thing.
And it's such a good movie too. It was like, oh, you feel.
Anyway, back to Star Wars episode 9.
Yep. So we see the movie. Everything's fine. Everything's good. All good. And Kyle was the one that drove us there. Is it okay if I tell them to make the car? Is that fine?
It was an SUV.
Yeah, so like big Chevy SUV. And did you know that the bumper wasn't attached before? Or
it was attached. I promise you it was attached before.
How did it fall off then?
I hit the curb.
Oh, that's right. That's how it happened.
So basically, we got back when we were done, And coming off of like good high, it was a great movie. We were happy about it. We were excited to talk about it in the car.
Yes, we
So
have controversial Star Wars opinions. Deal with it.
Austin's going to have completely different ones, so be prepared for that. So I started backing out of the parking spot, and I realized that my tire went up on the curb, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just finish backing up, and I'll straighten off so that I don't hit the curb. And
That's
boy,
where
oh
it all went
boy,
wrong.
I was wrong. The curb was higher than I thought.
All of a sudden,
We back up, and my bumper is just sitting on the curb.
there was a
And we
slight
sat there for a good 10 seconds staring at it.
We just start backing up. There's a very brief and loud grinding/crunching sound, and we're like, we look at each other. It's like, oh, that didn't sound very good. So Kyle puts the car into park, and we get out and look at the.
We didn't even get out.
Oh
And
yeah,
my
just-
lights were looking at it, and we just stopped talking and stared at the front bumper of my car
Just
right
saw
in front of us.
saw the front bumper lying on the curb and not attached to Kyle's car like it should have been. And I think I was the first one to speak. I think I was just like, the bumper fell off.
Those were probably the exact words. The bumper fell off. And I think my response was exactly, guess so. So we wound up getting out of the car, still baffled. And we looked at the front of my car, like the bumper magically put itself back, or to like go into the notion of that wasn't surely my bumper, was it?
The bumper had appeared to have detached itself in such a way that
It was a clean pull off.
like it looked like the most natural thing in the world. So we looked at it for a bit, and we're
Like I parked there without ever seeing the bumper.
we look at it for a bit, and we're both just like, do you think it'll go back on?
So we try to put it back on. Doesn't go back on.
It would, in fact, not go back on. So we had to throw it.
By the
into
way,
back
when I
seat.
say that it was like a clean tear off, I mean like none of the clips broke. The bumper was in great condition.
Just clean,
It just took it off.
just broke.
So the next thing was, how are we gonna get this home so I can put it back on some other time? Eventually, we came to the conclusion it would fit in my trunk,
Yes.
but it would hit the back of my seat.
Yep.
So that was how I drove around with it for probably a good month without getting it fixed.
Yep.
And that, everyone, is the bumper story. Now, I know there's one particular one with Evan that I know Evan wrote down. So we're going to save it and discuss that as a whole thing.
Okay.
And then, of course, mine for Evan is also the same as what he wrote because, as we discussed earlier, I don't remember a lot of what I do with Evan. There's me, if like me and Tristan get under the influence of something, me and Evan double that in another form. This is the man that will do like alcoholic shots that are called cocaine shots, which is like peppermint schnapps, Jaeger, and or something else. 151 rum. Soup. Yeah, it's something. He's also the one that actually keeps a bottle of Jaeger at his place.
Jaeger's so gross.
He is
though.
the guy that
It's licorice.
Actually, this
it's
is-
licorice liquor. That's what it is. It's fucking garbage. Why do people like Jaeger?
not only that, it's black licorice.
Yeah, it's awful.
Um,
Like if it was Twizzler flavored, maybe, but
shut up so I can tell this story. The one story I can tell with Evan is in our separate friend group. They host parties that me and him go to, and we basically, everyone gets drunk and we do how we feel because it's in the country. And I still remember Evan brought a bottle of absinthe to the party. We all took at least one small shot of it. Evan drank about 3/4 of the bottle.
how? Absinthe tastes so bad.
It's mint. Doesn't taste that bad.
The one that we got and tried was pretty bad.
That was the one he brought. But also keep in mind it has a sugar sifter, so you're supposed to put sugar in it.
I had mine with sugar. I was still
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
But there was a time where Evan went to the bathroom, and I was like, you know what?
Oh,
That's fair.
this story.
Tristan was not here, but I have told him this before. So Evan went to the bathroom, and I thought that was pretty fucking normal for a guy who just drank 3/4 of a bottle of absinthe, which I believe is like 75 proof.
At least something like that.
It's devastating. Tristan, look that up while I'm telling the story, so that we don't give unnecessary wrong facts.
As we stated, this podcast is very much not going to have misinformation at all. And if
But
we
yes.
have something that is misinformation, it'll be corrected.
So Evan goes in to use the bathroom, and a good hour passes.
Absinthe is 148 proof.
So 3/4 of a bottle of 148 proof absinthe.
Good Lord.
About an hour passes, and Evan's still not outside. And at this time, I wasn't sure if there were people inside, like maybe he stopped in and talked to them, or what. But I kind of realized that everyone was outside, except for Evan. So I was like, I'm going to go check on Evan. So I walk inside, right in the middle of their living room. I see a man laid out on the floor, passed out drunk.
Oh.
And I looked at him for a good second like, you're going to feel that tomorrow.
Ugh.
So the host comes in, and I say, what should we do about this? Because somebody's going to think he's dead. I mean, like, he looked like he had no soul in his body.
Oh dear.
So she asked me, why don't you try waking him up? Because just to make sure he's okay. A man 3/4 drunk on absinthe is not going to generally be okay.
No, that's a bad day.
And so I try to wake him up. And he's like, yeah. I was like, are you okay? He gives me a firm, yeah, I'm fine. Looking like the deadest son of a lurch ever. And so I'm like, okay, I'll give him a few minutes, see if he comes back outside. Or maybe he'll still just be drunk on the floor. And a little more time passes, probably about another 20 minutes. I go in. Evan is no longer on the floor. He has disappeared.
Mildly concerning.
So I walk a little further, and he is passed out again on the toilet. Just laying on the floor. Right on the toilet. And I say, at least he's not vomiting. Couple minutes later, I was dead wrong.
No, I haven't heard this story, actually. This is the first time I've heard it.
Evan will probably tell it different, but keep in mind, he was 3/4 drunk on absinthe. I don't think he actually remembers.
God, his blood alcohol levels. What with, like, that's dangerous.
To take a long story short, he was responsible and slept his ass on the floor. I finally was able to get him from the bathroom back to his original sleeping spot, and that's where he slept for the rest of the night. Evan being responsible for once. I'm kidding. He never drives drunk. He's actually a pretty responsible person.
Yeah, Evan's not stupid. He's just Evan. You'll understand once you hear him on the podcast.
Where we'll be interrupted every 10 minutes, less than that, 10 seconds. And Tristan will lose his train of thought 10 times more than when he's with me alone.
Oh, yeah, it's I hit myself on the nose.
But yeah, me and Tristan have had a lot of good memories back when we would make YouTube videos, when we would stream together, play Apex together. There's a lot of stories on Apex. but I cannot think of any right now. There's a lot in COD Mobile. There's some stories there.
I think probably one of my favorite memories from COD Mobile then. This was a while ago now. This is probably like 4 or 5 months ago at least. But it was when the circle was closing in on construction, and it was us.
We always go construction. Go nowhere else.
Yeah, if you play COD Mobile, just land construction.
Meet us at construction. We'll kill you.
Yeah, unless you're high grandmaster or legendary, then you may kill us.
Respectfully, of course.
Yeah, because we did actually hit legendary. 2 seasons.
Anyway, stories. Go.
Stories. Yes. So
Tristan will go all night.
So we knew that there were 2 other players in the lobby that were really, really good. We kept seeing their names popping up all over the kill feed. So it got
doesn't happen often.
Not very often, no. So we saw it get down to like the final 7 players, all of them converging on construction, and
we're waiting.
It turns out that like one of them pushed forward, or there was a third person that was actually good that we didn't realize was good.
Are you talking about the guy that from around the fence line area?
Yeah.
Where I was up on the sniper or the helicopter pad?
Yeah, because he was.
Yes. So he was a solo player. He had no one around him. We weren't fighting anybody. He just entered our domain.
Yep.
And boy, did he step on the wrong sniper ground.
Yep.
He was very good. I forget if we thought he was. No, he was cheating.
He was cheating. Yeah,
I remember, because that's what made this a lot better. So
he killed me first.
Yes, I told you to charge him, because he's behind like just a closed off back building.
Yep.
Or like bricks or something like that.
Oh, by the way, other pro tip for COD Mobile: if you have a duos partner, one of you run scout, the other run mechanic. You'll win a lot.
Yes. Once again, tips for another day. But I told Tristan to push him. When we're playing video games, I am the grandmaster. I am the map controlist. I am the game planner.
See, this is how I am in real life. That's just my normal personality. So in video games, I'm the aggressive, don't think about anything son of a bitch that just runs in and gets
I'm also better at just making calls on the fly.
Yeah, that's the thing. If I were to play like RTS games, I would probably be pretty good at them because I have time to
He's
think.
the one that would be able to give you like 2-3 steps ahead in a game of chess.
Yeah.
But not figure out the whole game.
I know.
Whereas I'm the one that thinks, how can I win now?
Yes.
It's not a long drawn out plan. It's what can I do to win now?
As an anime comparison, if you watch Blue Lock, Kyle's perception and strategy in video games is very much like what Isagi's view of the field is.
Yeah. I will control the map and predict how people are going to play, and I will still be better than you. Not really. I'm actually a very average player overall.
Unless he's sniping. He's a very good sniper.
Because I can see the map. I can see what's going on from a distance.
But even so, lateral movement, like side-to-side movement.
I'm better at JFKing everyone. I know that was bad. Shut up.
That was an oof.
That's an oof. That was me in the sniper tower that day.
Oof.
No, I wasn't born yet, obviously. But yeah, so I have Tristan push this guy, and immediate down.
Yeah, like normally this strategy works like 95% of the time. Like it's a pretty good strategy.
When I pull it out, there is a very high success rate
because
he's the better shot.
One of my things that I take pride in the natural ability that I do have, I am very good at aiming in FPS games.
And flicking.
Yes, I do have very good flicks and reaction times.
But yeah, this guy did not miss a bullet, did not
Nope.
miss a headshot. Tristan went down in a heartbeat.
Like, he didn't miss anything, and when he killed me, I was a good like 25 meters away from him, and like all headshots, not a single miss. Like, yeah.
And obviously
cheating.
Tristan did a little bit of damage because he did armor up, and he started pushing me. I moved over to the garage at this point because I had better sight control from him, and he starts peeking me, obviously hitting his shots, but I was hitting mine too. And
Yes.
it was a drawn out battle of who had more overchargers.
Yep.
Because it was literally like headshot, armor break, heal. It was very back and forth. And then all of a sudden, he did something stupid and ran for the door. I did not miss a shot. And I brought down this guy that was hacking. And we were so hyped.
And to top it all off, Kyle managed to actually grab my respawn.
Yeah, before the last respawn plane. It was such a good play. And I have never been prouder as a first-person shooter average player than then.
That was a moment. That was something special. Ooh, there were a couple good ones from tank duos in Overwatch.
That is true, but we'll get to that probably down the line because
Yeah.
we probably should move on to at least one of Evan's.
Yeah, we did spend quite a bit of time on that.
We're over an hour now.
I mean, podcasts go for a while.
Yeah, I know. And plus, we're testing the time limit too. How long can we spew shit and people still watch?
Yeah, can we keep ourselves entertained? That's the question.
Yeah, since this is more for us, not for you. But if you like it, once again, show the appreciation, because otherwise this is just a normal conversation that's being recorded.
Pretty much.
So when it comes to Evan, are you interested in the one he said for you?
Yes, I'm curious.
Okay, so for you, he wanted to talk about the video.
My drunk video?
No. The Gary's Mod video.
Prawn room?
Of Rhonda.
Oh, Rhonda.
It was, he said, the videos of Gary's Mod where we kept saying Rhonda. Evan's spelling, not mine.
So, yes.
That's a good video. I believe it's Prop Hunt Part 1 on the Digital Dynasty video channel.
I think so. It was the first one because I had editing of the first two.
Yes. Which, for how simplistic it is, I still think it's good for Tristan.
Especially the picture I found of Rhonda.
that was great.
I literally just Googled Rhonda and just kind of picked the first thing I saw in Google image search.
Put it in.
And it was like a picture of this like real estate person out in like Nebraska. So
with like a sassy stance,
yeah,
black, bustier woman.
Yeah,
it was bigger woman. Big is beautiful.
Yes, we don't fat shame here.
Except if it's me talking about myself, that's the only fat shaming that's here.
Oh yes, but that's also different because it's you talking about yourself.
But yeah, so there was the way you edited it. There was no lead up to this. All of a sudden, Rhonda. And I think it was Evan. Did Evan start it? Or was it me? It may have been Evan.
I think it was Evan. I'm pretty sure it was Evan. Because
Evan said Rhonda.
And he said it like this. He said it so exaggerated. He's like, hello, Rhonda.
No, that was the second one. So it's literally just starts off, Rhonda.
Yeah.
No lead up, just Rhonda. And then Tristan responds, Rhonda.
Was it Austin that did hello, Rhonda?
No, it was still Evan. That was right after you responded. He's just, hello, Rhonda.
That's right, yeah.
And this went on for at least that night, probably like 5 minutes.
Oh, probably, yeah.
And on the recording, it goes immediately to Evan somehow being an actually good player and twisting Tristan's ankles. But watch that video and listen to how mad Tristan got.
I was working through a lot of stuff in my life at this point.
But at least he edited his own comedy.
Yes, and that and the school bus that was my other really good prop hunt video.
Part 2. And then Evan wanted to talk about with me. He wanted to talk about the times where me and him would sing Star.
I don't think I've heard the story.
You have not. There's a few stories that me and Evan haven't told you, which we will definitely get into, I'm sure. So before I moved out for the first time, I had my PlayStation 2 hooked up to the theater room. I think
Okay.
you've been there when it was hooked up.
I think so. Yeah, we played something on it, like a Burnout.
My sister had these games that she never played. She played them for probably a week, but since they were video games, she stopped playing them. Me and her played a lot of like Karaoke Revolution, but SingStar was another entity. SingStar was you get 2 mics in the pack, you plug it into the PlayStation, and you can sing. That like a Rock Band microphone to give the best comparison, or Guitar Hero guitars. And me and Evan, being the party animals that we are, would crank the stereo in the theater room.
Did you blow out the speakers?
No. You'd think we would, but no, we have not. So we would crank that every day I'm shuffling. That's so stupid, and I'm sorry. So we would crank the stereo up, and we would sing our fucking hearts out. SingStar is broken up into different discs based on genre.
Indeed.
And my sister had a lot of the ones that were sold in the U.S. So like country, pop, 80s, 90s, rock, which had no actual rock on it. Very soft rock. Think like stadium rock in a way. Still no Breaking Benjamin. That was disappointing. But this was 2002 when that game came out. I don't think that was it, but it was one of those things that my dad would come down without us hearing him open that door, and that door is loud. And he would just sneak up on us and be like, "How's the singing?" I mean, like, obviously we would have to turn it down when they were going to bed, but that did not stop how loud we would sing. And we had our certain picked songs that we would like fucking go all out for. We would have like duels of who could get the higher score. And those nights were just fun, and I would love to get his perspective on that memory another time when we talk like about video games or something. But those days were great. I still have my PlayStation 2. He wants me to rehook it up, by the way, so that we can play SingStar again. I told him straight up, I don't think my parents need that trauma anymore.
No, probably not.
My mom would probably come down and be like, "Kyle, you are 28 years old. I am tired of this bullshit." And she does not cuss, but it's the funniest thing when she does. I have a story about that you have definitely not heard, but Evan may have been there for. But that's another story. But yeah, the SingStar is really fun if you love the bullshit. And it has some actually really good song selections, especially on the 80s, which was me and Evan's favorite.
What is it with Evan and like party games like that?
You mean the party that he can have to himself?
Oh, I mean like playing like Mario,
Rock Band, Guitar Hero.
Mario Party. Like how?
Oh, he's a demon. He is an absolute demon.
I forget which Mario Party it is, but there's a mini game where the goal is to chop down a tree as fast as possible. And
we were playing the soda shaking game. I think it was in Mario Party 5, and it was Oh no, that would have been the Wii. There was one that you have to shake something. I can't remember if it was a can.
Yeah.
But you had to shake it, and you had to like just quickly press A. And this man has speed on the thumbs. It is so weird.
In the axe chopping, tree
like
chopping
I thought
game,
I'm a pretty fast button masher.
Kyle and I were doing all right. You know, we were a little above average. Doing okay. You were doing better than me. I was definitely last place, but you know, still respect.
This man goes 100 miles an hour pressing a goddamn button.
I'm going to give you a sample reference for what it sounded like when Evan was pressing the A button on his controller.
10 times faster.
Like, brutally fast.
Like, I thought my GameCube controller was going to break.
And he just smokes us and just wins the minigame. And then
And he does it a few times, too. Like,
he does it a few times. And so we challenge him.
Can you beat us by pressing it with your nose?
nose?
This man's got a schlong for a nose.
And he does.
Yeah, he creams us again. It was definitely slower than his hand, but it was still. It was like he was smashing a controller with his face.
He's like he was twitching his head back and forth faster than I can move my fucking finger.
He was
like,
making sweet love to that controller, just in a very brutal and kinky way.
It looked very much like what a woodpecker would do, to be honest.
It really did. That man would wake you up in the morning with a good woodpeck.
You know, I think that was the same night that I think that was the
the night where he took his shirt off.
Yes. So, as another fun story, that same night, this was before we discovered the wonders of marijuana.
This was also before TikTok was a thing.
Yeah,
This was Vines.
Yeah.
Well, Vine was already closed, but we were watching Vine videos on YouTube.
I think Evan and I were 22. You were 23.
It was a while ago. It was my first apartment.
It was our early 20s. Oh fuck, that's weird to say now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we got drunk. I got drunk. Did I get drunk that night?
We all got drunk that night.
I think I only had beers though. Yeah.
No, that was the night he brought absinthe, and we did absinthe and root beer.
No, that was the night of the Four Locos. That was the Four Locos night. When you took off his shirt.
I'm pretty sure it was the absinthe night, but we were drunk.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter what beverage.
Both would kill you.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. So, Evan's wasted. He's just gone. And
it was a TikTok where a guy had his shirt off, and he was just hopping
and
down the street to a song.
And Kyle and I thought it was fucking hilarious, and we're just laughing. And then
Evan was dying too.
Yeah, and then we just say very nonchalantly, not seriously at all.
I think it was me.
You said it, and I think I
literally turned to Evan, and I was like, "Evan, I dare you to do that." And Tristan's like, yeah. "Oh yes, that'd be funny." No hesitation. This man gets up from the couch, opens my door. No, he opens the door first, takes his shirt off, and is just He's not even hopping. He bolted just down the apartment complex.
I think he was barefoot too.
I think he was barefoot, and then ran back. And the man's a monster.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the enigma known as Evan.
So now, what are our worst habits as friends?
Worst habits as friends.
I'll start with Evan. Evan just said not knowing when to stop. He did not specify stop what, but I'm going to guess he meant stop. Tell him not knowing when to stop being Evan. There are moments where Evan becomes too much Evan. He's one of those people that he'll kind of beat a joke dead.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I think he means, is he just doesn't know when to stop. Like, the best way is just stop being Evan. There is just a little too much chaos for an extended period of time, and yet I'm trying to live with him, which is going to be weird. That house will be destroyed in 10 days.
Wow.
Maybe not even that.
Maybe not even that.
But yeah, I honestly think that's just the best way to describe it. Is Evan's a great guy. He really is. But there is sometimes just too much of Evan. Kind of like there's too much of a good thing, except it's Evan. That's about the best way I can describe it without actually asking him what he means.
You seem to get pissed off with Evan more than me or Austin. Like,
it's because my Evan meter fucking goes off the charts, and there's only so much like that meter can hold. It goes overload. Tries for a while.
You get frustrated and exasperated with me.
Evan does Evan things.
But Evan, you get legitimately pissed off. Yeah,
there are just certain things that Evan does is like he lets his inner thoughts be expressed more, not said more, but expressed more. It's like when you get that thought of like you see somebody grab something that you were going to grab and jokingly you just slap it out of their hands. That's heaven. He just instinctually does stuff, but instinctually it's wrong.
The man is just chaos.
His intrusive thoughts become his outward motion a lot more than a lot of things.
I think I'm going to top off with another gummy. I'll be right back.
Oh, God. This man's had 3.
It's starting to wear
Oh, sorry for you. Also, can we talk about he has now been up 3 times during this podcast. 1 to get a drink, 1 to go to the bathroom, and 1 to get a gummy. This man is a child, I swear.
That's so unprofessional.
It is.
It's
It's interesting. This... Man, where do I start with Tristan's worst habits? I could start with this. This could be one of his habits as he comes over here looking like fucking giggity boy from fucking Family Guy, fucking Quagmire. He's got his head fully crouched over like
it's Quagmire.
Like
Quagmire.
The teacher from Fairly Odd Parents. That man was on crack.
These gummies taste so good.
Shut up, you bitch. So I'm gonna let Tristan say what his worst habit is because I think generally we agree. Evan might say something different, but I think me and you pretty much agree what your worst.
Yeah.
Outside the anger that you're working on,
And
there's another one,
I've gotten a lot better about that actually,
as we talked about earlier as well.
And I'm actually going to go on a little bit of a sidetrack with that. But
Little bit literally means the length of Shrek 3.
This is brief. So I managed.
This man didn't even complete. This is pretty much. He said, "This pretty. Sorry, I had to point that out.
I had wrestled away any power or control my mother had over me in like everyday waking life, right? But not in dreams yet. Like every time I had a dream and she popped up, it would turn into a nightmare. But recently, like within the last month and a half-ish or so, I've been at the point where I can, if my mother does pop up in my dreams, I just tell her straight to her face to fuck off, and I fucking hate her. And it's great. And it's just like...
This man is only cold-hearted in his dreams.
She just withers, and it's so nice to see. Anyway.
But, yes, your worst habit.
My worst habit is by far, apart from like my anger, like I said, is the fact that I'm a logical person. Like I am driven by logic and thinking.
You don't say.
And as a result, I have a tendency to overthink things, and I can miss.
I'm so glad you didn't say I tend to slightly. It's not slightly, folks. He is overthinks.
Like Kyle or Austin, these are characteristics that I love about both of them. Is that they both have very good senses of humor that makes me laugh.
We're also unpredictable.
But sometimes they will make a reference or a joke that they're saying sarcastically, but they say it sarcastically in such a good way.
And it's usually an inside joke between me and him.
Is that I can't determine that it was said sarcastically, so I start analyzing what they said, thinking they're talking about it seriously, and I start like diving into the details of the meaning of what they said, and they're both like, "It's a joke, Tristan. It's a."
Put it this way: this is probably the more confusing way to say it, but if we're playing like Coup or Among Us, who's the first to die? Kyle, because Tristan says in his head, "Oh, he's lying. He's definitely lying." But maybe he thinks that I'm thinking that he's lying. He does the whole like what Ben Stiller's really good at, saying a lot but not actually getting to a point. And then he kills me because he said, "No, you're definitely lying, and I can't trust you." and yet I'm telling the truth all the time.
And see, this is the thing with another difference between me and Kyle is that with me, I absolutely abhor dishonesty. Like, I hate dishonesty.
Yet he's dishonest to himself.
In what way? That doesn't even make sense.
Just keep going. Keep going. Go ahead.
So yes, I hate dishonesty, and Kyle, he's not dishonest in like his relationships or anything like that. He's a very honest person in that regard. But when it comes to games and shit,
you don't know.
Or his plans,
you don't know unless I tell you.
You really don't know. He is very unpredictable. So in those situations, it's better to err on the side of caution and view him as a threat.
And there, a lot of time is like, I don't lie a lot. I really don't, even in the games.
Austin
but
lies
there's
more
a
than
reason.
You do.
Is because when I do lie, you're never expecting it. Most games where there is deceit, I tell the truth, and I have to tell them this every fucking time. I usually tell the truth. But once again, who dies the most? Me. Because I apparently can't be trusted even though I tell the truth almost all the time. I'm just too good at the one time I lie.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because it's so natural. Because of, like, all the stuff I've done media-wise. It's like,
because that's the thing. When you do it, you pull it off.
It's devastating.
You pull it off early game, and it's like, as soon as you do that, it's like, oh, well, Kyle's already won.
Yeah, it's literally, I metagame when I lie. I literally cannot lose if I lie. But if I tell the truth, I will die.
So you should feel good about this, that we make you such a target, because we know how much of a threat you are.
Yeah, and it's not even that. It's like, Austin lies all the time. And yet this man trusts him more than the guy that tells the truth almost all the time. And it's ridiculous.
I'm going to blame that on the fact that I lived with Austin for 2 years. Hashtag Sassy Squad.
Even then, it's still, he trusts him. And Austin will lie to this man's face.
Yep.
Square up. And he trusts him over the guy that he has known longer, has introduced him to Austin, and tells the truth more than not. That is how devastating my lie is to them, because it's like I destroyed their souls.
Whereas Austin's lying. Yes, Austin's lying, but the way that he does it, and while the outcomes are damaging, yes, they're not completely obliterating like what Kyle does.
The best way to interpret it in anime terms is I go into the zone. I am just instantly better.
Kuroko no Basuke fans.
Yes. But my worst habit as a friend, there's not many, and I know that, and I'm not trying to.
There really aren't. Like, I would say honestly, the thing that you do.
I babble a lot. I definitely babble a lot.
You do, but I'm kind of the personality type where it doesn't really bother me.
Yeah, because you like interesting and non-interesting conversations.
Yeah,
as long as you're not being stupid about them.
Yeah, for me, it's just like background noise that I'm processing until I hear something that I have interest in, and then I engage.
Yeah, but I talk a lot.
You do talk a lot, but the thing I would say that bothers me the most,
my depressive rants.
No, not really those. You've gotten better about this, and it's something you're still working on. Character
mentally or not mentally, or on purpose or purposely.
Not really. Kind of mentally, not really. It's the fact that your planning that used to be very much sporadic and immediate, and like no structure at all. Like there was no plan at all.
That was part of my early chaos.
This man had no plan. He had no plan. Like,
unless it was like the plan of vacation.
Yes, he had no plan. And he would just do things and then spring things on me and Austin with no plan. And it's like, you need a plan. You need a plan.
And like we discussed earlier, is like, I am the guy that has a plan now. Like
he has improved. He's gotten better.
It's not just that. It's like I once again have gone into the zone with my planning. It's like I am so good at planning at what you're gonna do. A lot of my observation skills on humans, unless I'm in this state, is very good. I can read a person really well.
Of course you can fucking read people. You read that I was gay well before I told you that I was.
About a year before.
Was it a year?
When I tried hooking you up with that one girl, yes.
I thought that was the following year. I thought that was when I was...
No.
Was it Madison when I was 19 or 20?
19.
So back in 2014, really? A full 2 years before?
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew 2 years before you told me. And it's because of just small shit you did. Or said.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really been shy about hiding the fact that I have no interest in women at all.
No. Doesn't friend many of them either.
And honestly, that's kind of funny.
Not saying that he doesn't, just...
It's kind of interesting to me, and I think the relationship that I have with my mother is a big driver of this. But I feel like I can't really trust women all that well. So the few women that I do become friends with, or I do let become close, are usually either they're more tomboyish in nature. They tend to have a lot more traditionally masculine pursuits or interests.
Tomboys.
Yeah, like my older sister.
Say the word.
I said tomboyish, but like not full blown tomboy. You know, I was like, when I think of the two women that I'm closest to in my life, my sister Emily and Anna, yeah, they're both just tomboys.
Yeah, it's fine to not have like female friends as a guy. It's just
I've always found socializing with men just much easier, and I've always been attracted to men.
But yeah, I can read people really well. I started kind of just being an observationalist, not voyeurist, observationalist. Back in high school, because I didn't have a whole lot of friends, especially in my classes, and just like general people that I would walk with, next to, but not talk with in the halls.
For context,
it's just like I can really read people.
For context, most of the people in his grade were fucking assholes, and he really would have been better off if you were in my grade.
It's true, but I mean, I also kind of forced myself to try to have friends, and they were not really great friends, but some of them were okay. Don't know where they are now. Don't really care.
Connor Jerome was cool. He was usually all right.
You didn't know him like I did, but I digress. Connor is, I believe, in the Marines, so I do not think ill will of him, but I did back in the day.
Oh, well, that's a shame. But, people are stupid at that age.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. I don't think that defines him as a person today.
Yeah, lots of people say fucking stupid shit in high school.
Yeah, we're high schoolers. We're also guys. We suck.
Yeah.
But I kind of surrounded myself with a bad friend group for that time for most of my days in high school. I mean, I still had a good group of friends. Like Josh, I'm still friends with him. He was one of the first people I met in high school, and
you started hanging out with me and Zeb quite a fair bit on the bowling team.
I know, because I kind of knew people then. I really was a loner for a majority of high school, but I got really good at just observing, knowing who's around me, what their habits are, and just like how that type of person generally thinks. And it was easy because a lot of my grade had bolts for brains.
To put it mildly.
Once again, if you're listening to this or even made it this far, and you're from my grade, once again, do not think ill will of you now. I've grown up a lot. I, once again, have seen a few of you guys since graduation. Not a lot of you. But you all seem like great people now. We're just stupid high schoolers.
Yeah.
And we did a lot of stupid shit. But observing people is one of my better qualities. But it does get into my worst habits too.
But I will say that one of your best traits for sure though is just how fucking loyal you are.
Don't make me blush.
You're never gonna have a friend. Or at least I should say, I hope you find a friend that is as loyal to you as Kyle is to his friends.
Friends only, though. If you're not my friend, fuck you.
Yeah.
But if you're listening to this podcast and you're not my friend, fuck you. No, I'm sure you're all great people. But yeah, my worst habits, they're far and few between, but it's kind of like just like I do things in the moment, do as I feel within a reasonable bound. It kind of backfires a lot.
Yep.
So that's kind of where more of the chaos and quote dishonesty comes from. Lie when I need to, kind of stuff. And then just to kind of wrap things up here from the very long rants, but once again, the more of this state of mind we get, the more rambling happens.
Well, before we get into that next
God,
topic,
you keep your fucking ass on that seat.
I was going to get more Cokes.
Undisclosed soda.
Yes, undisclosed cola.
Redacted soda. Give me some of that static. So unprofessional. But as you can also tell, I am very much losing my voice.
Yeah, you're getting a little hoarse.
But the final thing, since Tristan's dumbass can still hear me, where do we see ourselves in the future as friends and as people? Once again, I asked Evan this. Don't think he understood the assignment or just didn't want to type. He just said, still friends. Shocking answer.
Man of exceedingly...
This man was just talking into his Coke. He is such a stupid bitch when he is in this state of mind. Probably one of the dumbest, worst habit. Tristan becomes a sack of bricks.
Yes, when I'm high, my ability to do mathematics diminishes. It's gone completely.
He becomes not the beached whale, but he's just the blubber.
I'm also not going to know any questions about grammar that you may ask me.
I'm not going to do it. That's a story for another time.
Where do we see ourselves in the future as friends? And
Obviously still friends.
well, of course.
Tristan's made it this far. He can't turn back.
I've concluded that you and Austin are going to be like, and Anna are going to be my tightest circle of friends, and my sister actually. That you four are like
The glue.
You're like the Sentinels, yeah. You're like the ones that
The Guardians of the Galaxy.
the ones that as long as I am alive, I want these people in my life.
Which is shocking because that's a lot of years of torture.
You know, the good outweighs the bad. So I say
That's fair.
that's what I'd say of mine and Kyle's relationship in the future. Like, just friends. Continue going on, being best friends.
Still getting into some stupid shit.
Oh, undoubtedly.
Like getting pulled over on the way home from a Reds game. That's another story for another time.
That is another story for another time.
There could literally just be an episode of stories.
And we can title that one, There is Another Story for Another Time.
Yes, because I'm sure by the end of 2 hours, there will be a story for another time.
She drinks
But
juice.
yeah. You're so dumb.
I made you laugh. My goal is complete.
Yeah, because I'm stupid right now. But yeah, I mean, of course, me and Evan are going to be friends. Me and Tristan are going to be friends.
Yeah.
It's a very basic answer. But we are all on so many different paths.
Yeah, I mean, like I've stated earlier, I'm moving to Chicago next year.
I don't know where I'm going to be.
And Kyle's still deciding.
I haven't decided where I want to be.
Yeah.
Evan's either going to stay here or go to Texas, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's just how it is with Cincinnati. There's nothing to keep people here.
Well, once again, that's a story
For another time.
God, that's going to become a catchphrase for no goddamn reason.
Yes, it is. It's already been done. That is a story
That's going
for
on a
another
T-shirt.
time. That actually would be a good T-shirt.
But I mean, me and Evan also have other friends that I would say I'm going to be friends with for a long time. I don't have giant friend groups,
No.
but I have good friend groups.
The way that I view it, I have my 4 sentinels. And everyone that's outside of that circle,
There's a tier system.
pretty much
You
yeah.
become a god or a mortal,
The people that
possibly a wizard.
people that are outside of that
Harry.
grouping are people that I'm on really good terms with and people that I consider friends, but not to the same extent as I would those 4. Like my coworker and mentor Randy, awesome guy, just fantastic, super cool. Provides very good political discussion when like hardly anyone I know
He's
can.
sexy.
And he's very attractive. I've told him this. He's found it very flattering. But
It's mutual sexiness.
but he is unfortunately straight. Sadness.
But that's a story for
Another time.
But like,
So yeah,
like, where do I see Evan in the future? I mean, he's trying to figure out his job right now.
I think he's gonna end up as like an engineering team lead.
Him as a lead scares me because there's nothing that comes out of that mouth.
But he is very smart.
He is deceptively smart. The dude is a material science engineer,
Yeah.
bachelor degree. This man is not stupid, but boy does he act it. And it's mostly the intrusive thoughts that I talked about earlier.
Yes. Indeed.
But I mean, yeah, he's a smart guy. The job market kind of sucks because people are quote unquote hiring instead of actually hiring. And like he wants, I think he wants to stay in Cincinnati, and he wants to work closer to Cincinnati. I mean, it's but he can't move jobs. He's told me he's applied to like 200 jobs.
Yeah, you just gotta go where the industry is. And it just ain't here.
Yeah, I mean he's a good guy, hard worker, not dumb but acts it. He's a perfect Waluigi.
I wonder if that's Evan's master plan for how he wants to dominate the universe. Just to make everyone think he's stupid, but not actually stupid.
That's the thing that's actually planned out. That's been planned out since he was born. The first time he could draw, he mapped out how he was gonna destroy the universe.
To give a frame of reference for the level of
No,
chaos,
because that's gonna be a story
for another time.
But yeah, it's I can't really read too much for Evan's future just because one, he's not here.
No.
I don't want to speak for him, but the way he's going right now, it can go so many directions.
Yeah.
None of them lead to his downfall, which is great.
No,
But it takes that one Doctor Strange future line that just don't go there.
He has a lot of options.
For me, I'm currently in school, so I'm hoping that after I graduate, they can kind of like help me get a job either in my major or we're actually in a proposal writing class right now. Excuse me. And I talked about this as my proposal plan with I want to make the most high-tech and immersive gaming centers in the United States because there's going to be nothing like it on the east side of the United States. Do I need to sneeze? Hold on. Nope, my nose decided not to. But that's pretty much what I'm just hoping. I want to actually finish school for once and either get a job in the business and save up to do this, or go out and get investments and make my gaming center here, probably in Cincinnati. If you want me to make a crowdfunding site for that, I'll happily do that. Why did I sexually whisper that in the mic?
Yeah, you kind of molested the microphone there.
It's probably been there's probably like just jumbles on my voice because I keep going like closer and closer and closer, just back and forth.
Yes, Kyle's giving unintentional ASMR. You better all appreciate it because we certainly don't. We don't like ASMR.
We don't.
We are very rare in that sense.
But yeah, my future I just want to graduate. I still got like I think 2 years from now.
That's fair.
That is the main focus. My voice is not here.
Your voice is pretty gone.
I have become an old country singer.
Well,
I've become the voice actor in Red Dead Redemption.
I think we've covered pretty much everything. I think that's a good
Well,
space.
you want to talk about yourself in the future outside Chicago?
I mean, the way that I view it with my move is it's not even closing a chapter on my life. It's the end of an era for me. It's something totally new.
What is this, fucking wrestling? You're making the storylines of your life?
Pretty much. It's kind of how it is, because after I move, it's like...
He's about to turn heel, folks.
Like infinite possibilities before me. Like anything, infinitely just available.
Anything is possible when you have friends.
So, beyond that, I mean, I guess the next step in my career I'd like to be in is just moving on to working in Microsoft Azure, and maybe long down the road working as like an IT consultant for a company.
And of course, as we talked about your writing.
Yeah. My writing, I don't really care if my writing is successful or not. I just want my stories out.
It's kind of like this podcast.
Yeah. I just want my stories out in the world.
Except your stories actually have, definition.
Yes.
This does not.
No.
There is no rhyme or reason to this.
None at all.
But shockingly, it's been a lot of fun.
It has been. I've enjoyed this.
We haven't even brought
Evan. The stick man.
Once again, he's probably not going to say much. It's going to be a lot of me interested. But when he does, be listening.
Indeed.
He is not always with us.
No.
But when he is, it's funny. Annoying to Tristan, but it is funny.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So if you've made it, Tristan, how long do you think we've been going? I told you at an hour.
It feels like 3 hours.
An hour 42.
Hour 42.
This is very long for a podcast.
That's pretty long. Yeah.
It's still going to be uploaded like this, though. Whole episode.
I agree.
If you want it shorter, and you've somehow made it this far, leave a comment. Kyle plan better. Hashtag Kyle plan better. As we reverting back to my my worst habit.
Yes.
Although actually, this wasn't technically my idea. This was yours.
No, I don't think it turned out quite well.
For now.
For now.
We haven't introduced it. It was my idea to bring Evan on because we have a weird three-way chemistry here.
There is. It's very strange.
It's.
Shall we conclude with that as the final
because
thing?
that's a story for another time. Thank you for listening to the Chaos Theory Podcast.